Our next speaker is our own Todd Cudaback, whose recent trip to the Far East was eye-opening. In Kuala Lumpur, Todd had a chance to discuss with the incoming Toastmasters International President about the one-person demonstration meeting. And after a few follow-up emails, this is his formulation of the one demonstration. I'm losing my thought. Todd considered this method for rapid deployment and request for education and the curiosity of the Toastmasters program throughout our district. So, working out of the Confident Manual, getting comfortable with visual aid, would you please welcome the one-person demonstration by Todd Cudaback.
Thank you, Ralph. It was in my introduction, and I think Ralph skipped over it, that as an audience, you're going to be playing a role today. You are a group of people gathered for a breakfast club meeting, and you know absolutely, well, I don't want to say absolutely nothing, but very little about the Toastmasters program. I'm here today to satisfy that curiosity. You guys in?
Yeah.
Got it understanding. Okay, so you're a group of people that are curious about Toastmasters. What I'm going to show to you today is some of the key features that make up the Toastmasters program. Things that you'll find in just about every meeting that have the ability to cause a transformation in people or gather an understanding about themselves and about their abilities. Before I get started, though, I want to satisfy my curiosity a little bit and understand what it is that you know about Toastmasters. Anybody have anything? And no, it does not involve butter and bread.
Teaching you how to speak well.
We do a lot of speaking. That's true. We also, at Omar, food. And being as you guys are in a breakfast club, I can see that we've all had our fill this morning. That's very true. Anybody else have anything? Well, let me tell you some things that you might not know about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is the largest non-profit organization dedicated to public speaking and leadership on the entire planet. We're located in over 126 countries, over 300,000 members. That equates to about 14,000 clubs on a global scale. Toastmasters was created in 1924 as a way of showing young people and teaching them some skills that they needed in the business world. Since that time, now 1924, that was a very long time ago. Since that time, Toastmasters has had an effect on close to 4 million people. It's an amazing program. And I'm going to show you some things today, and I want you to keep an eye out for how this might affect the way you show up in the world. How this will cause you to build some skills that you didn't even know you had. I'm going to show you some things we call table topics. I'll show you a speech, and I'll show you an evaluation and some various other roles that you'll typically find in a meeting. Now, one of the key roles that we have is that of a timer. I've set up a timer already, and she will be displaying a green and a yellow light based on my cues as we progress through this meeting. And it's real important. We learn in Toastmasters that time is critical, and to stay within certain times that were allotted. This is great training, and you'll see what I mean as we progress. I just have a couple of rules. as a group, I'm going to require that everybody play along. Okay? Everybody in?
Yeah.
How many people can raise their elbow above their head? Nice. The other rule is that in Toastmasters, we like to clap a lot. So follow my lead, or if you don't know what to do, just start clapping and somebody else will join in and we'll figure out what we're going to do next. You good with that? Well, there you go. So what I would like to show you first is what we call table topics. Now this is an extemporaneous style speaking. And I need a volunteer. Who would like to be the table topics master? Your name, sir?
Mr. Table Topics.
Mr. Table Topics. Oh, really? Your first name?
Mike.
Mike.
And yours?
Hi, Mike. My name is Todd.
Todd.
You heard that? Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah. You're big.
Now, just... I don't know how he knew that, but yeah, you got it.
Well, I know that about everybody.
All hail to the table topics master. Now, as a new member, you're going to find yourself fearing this person. You're going to find yourself, when he's brought up to the front of the room, looking the other way or looking down.
I can see it already.
You'll find yourself not wanting to make eye contact. And you'll see what I mean as we progress here a little bit. But remember, you're all going to play along. Now the way this works,
That's after this after.
the way this works is typically there'll be a topic. I just know. Great makes a great clown. We just need a big red nose.
50,000 of those. We're out of work. Here's another one.
Our topic for today is firsts.
Is what?
Firsts.
First.
Like first day at school, those type of things. So as he's formulating a question, I'm going to explain how this works. Mike is going to pose a question to you guys. He'll give you a couple of seconds, and then he'll choose somebody to give an answer. Now I have a timer, and the timer will give us the green light at 30 seconds. So the idea here is to speak for at least 30 seconds till you see the green light. The yellow light will come on at 45 seconds, and that means you need to start wrapping it up. At 1 minute, the red light will come on, and that means you're done, close it. And if you don't, I'm going to start clapping, everybody else will, and you won't be able to get a word in edgewise. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, do you have a question?
I have a question, Todd.
Okay. Let her rip. Easy now, easy. We don't want to get too complicated. This is
Try not to do that. This is the first day after a long and distinguished career that you are now retired. What's the first thing you're going to do this afternoon?
couple of seconds.
Couples.
Oh, look, we have a volunteer.
We have a volunteer.
I think the first thing that I would do after a long career, and I have all of the time in the world now, would be to attempt baking French macarons. It is one of the hardest cookies to make. It requires patience and skill. You don't just take 3 eggs. You have to weigh the grams of the egg whites. And a lot of the ingredients have to be weighed, and then once you mix it up and you plop it on the cookie sheet, you have to wait 15 to 30 minutes for a fine film to form before you put it in the oven, and then you have to switch it around. And then you make a paste, almond paste, pistachio paste, and put them together. Very, very difficult, but now that I have all the time in the world, I can afford to make several batters of mistakes until I get there.
I can see you guys might be a little more advanced in this type of extemporaneous speaking. This exercise really gets a person's brain exercised. It really exercises that muscle. This might be utilized, say you're at a wedding and it's an open mic and somebody walks up to you and says, say something. Yeah, but you don't have to do that now. I'm using I'm going to change, since this seems to me like an advanced group, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. I've asked this fine, upstanding individual here to come up with a word. We call this the word of the day. So in the next person that Mike calls on, the idea here is to incorporate this into your mini speech. Everybody got it? It's dwindle.
Dwindle.
So Mike, do you have another question? And choose a contestant. I don't want to say victim, but somebody to play in table topics. There we go, dwindle.
Do we want a short little 3-minute speech?
No, just table topics.
Oh, table topics.
I'm incorporating another role into the mix here. Is everybody following me? So this role is called the word of the day, and you are to try and incorporate that word in your little speech for your table topics.
You've been following the markets since you've been retired and you no longer have income, but your nest egg is solely dependent on the stock market, which is suddenly starting to go down. How is that going to affect your lifestyle?
Now, as you're thinking, I can see some of you around the room. You're looking down and you're looking the other direction. This is how this works, but go ahead, Mike.
Let's have Daryl come up and talk about it.
Stay where you're at there. And remember, we have a word of the day.
I'm retired, and my source of income, my sole source of income, which is the stock market, is dwindling. What I'm going to first do is do what my mother does, which is stop eating out and begin to make all of my own meals. Now, I love to eat out. It's one of the joys that I have, and it's great to spend time with a friend, being able to chat over a nice meal that someone else is preparing. But my mother takes great pride in the fact that for many years, she's been able to feed herself and my father in retirement for under $190 a month for the two of them. And they eat quite well. It's because she makes everything from scratch, and a lot of that is based on making soups from scratch. Whenever she makes a vegetable, she saves that vegetable water. Whenever she makes a roast beef, she saves the drippings from that and finds a way to incorporate that into the soup. So that would be the key thing I would change, is to make sure that I could reduce my major spending, which is eating out, by eating in more often.
Okay, let's do one more. And I think I'm going to add one more role.
Another role.
Another role. And I'd like this fine, upstanding individual to be what I call is the ah counter. Now, she's going to listen to the next speaker and see how many times they say ah. So Mike, you're still up.
Mm-hmm.
Another table topics question.
Another table topics question. Okay. As we all know, the United States, although officially on the metric system, does not follow the metric system. It's actually a law that we're supposed to do. We've decided, though, to incorporate our own type of timing system. And we are now going to go to a 10-hour day, not a 24-hour. This is our version of the metric. How are you going to adjust your lifestyle to a 10-hour day? Eldon, you look like that's something you might do.
This could be the answer. I'm trying to get more sleep. I need to dwindle down the amount of effort I am pouring out. No, I need to reallocate so that I don't become obsolete and find myself. So I can now sleep for 5 hours a day out of 10. And store more energy to make myself indispensable and cause someone else to dwindle in their available opportunities to progress.
Very nice. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Todd. Didn't you do a great job? Now, we had an awe counter. She was listening intensely. And that's one of the great things about these two positions that I created, is it teaches a person to listen and to really pay attention to what another person is saying. The table topics, did everybody see value in that kind of practice? Everybody raise their elbow above their head again? Yeah. It's pretty amazing. When I first started doing table topics, trust me, it was like, don't call on me, I'm not going to go there. And it was the strangest feeling to stand up and try and formulate and articulate my ideas and present them in a presentable format where people could understand or get my point. This is why we practice it in the Toastmasters program. Okay, the next thing I'd like to show you is a speech. Now, typically a new member in Toastmasters starts off, and they do start off with what we call an icebreaker. And this is just a simple little speech that gets you comfortable with standing in front of an audience and presenting. Basically, an icebreaker is a little speech that tells us something about you. And it introduces you to the club so that the rest of the club can kind of get an idea of who you are and what you're about. So do I have a volunteer? Somebody that would like to give a simple little icebreaker? Yes, ma'am, come on up. See how we like to clap? Thank you, ma'am. Welcome. And your name is?
Madeline.
Madeline. So, Madeline, I'm going to instruct our timer to show us the green light at 4 minutes. And that's kind of the qualifier.
Okay.
And go ahead and just tell us a little something about yourself or something that we don't know. Madeline.
The reason I wanted to come up here is because I so admired Emmy's second icebreaker, the long, elaborated speech where there's plenty of time to talk about things, interesting things, not so interesting things, possibly quirky things about her as a person and about any of us. And I was thinking about that icebreaker, Todd, when you made a remark, and now I'm stealing my own material, but I think that's okay, because I have this on a list of things to do, to write a speech, a second icebreaker, and it was prompted by something, an exchange we had before a meeting. You said something about a certain person, and I said, oh yes, I have a connection to that person, and I told you what it was. And you said, Todd said something profound. He said, we never really know each other, do we? There's so many things. You think you know a person, but who would have known that I had this connection to Baba Don Ross? How do you say his name? Don Ross.
Oh, Ramdas.
Ramdas.
Ramdas. Sure.
Tenuous, and it goes way back, but nonetheless there is a connection there. And I started thinking, there are things about me that are kind of interesting, which none of you know except possibly my dearest and dearest husband here. But some of them are just quirky, and you'd never guess. You might think I'm a normal person, and in many respects I am a normal person. But there are other things. The comment about cooking one's own meals. I love to cook my own meals. My meals are so much better than anything that I could ever eat in a restaurant. And will my bank account dwindle as a result of cooking? On the contrary. Will my weight decrease? Constant struggle there. No, it will not dwindle. And yet, that's one of the quirky things. I like to do this. I love going to a farmer's market and getting stuff, vegetables, and I look at them and say, what is this? It's kohlrabi. What on earth is kohlrabi? It looks like a vegetable from another planet, for heaven's sake. So I much enjoy that aspect. I also enjoy, well, Dick respects me a lot for this. I have a rescue cat. And when someone brought this scrawny cat to me, and it had needed a home 13, 14 years ago, and I said, sure, I'll take it in. I like animals, I like cats. And then, turns out, I started noticing things. I studied zoology. I know a bit about parasites. And when I fed that cat one day and it threw up, and there were roundworms kind of. I said, oh, there's Ascaris. My cat has roundworms. Off to the vet we go. She also had ear mites because she would do this thing. So I have rescued this cat, and we take extraordinarily good care of her. And she's the most affectionate, sweet cat. She'll jump up and she'll cuddle up. And
I think our timer fell asleep, but thank you, Madam. Oh, that was 4 minutes? I'm sorry. That's okay, thank you.
so,
Oh, there it is.
the cat. Love animals. Love reading about critters, about health. I hate flying Virgin Atlantic, and I will never fly that again. I hate these people that push their seat back until I'm trying to eat my food and start going like this. Other than that, we're just back from a trip to London, and that's the subject of a whole other speech. Thank you so much.
Did you guys like that? She fit in the word of the day, and she did a really great job. Now, when you're a brand new Toastmaster, you'll receive this company communicator net. And the icebreaker speech is the first speech, but there's 9 other projects. So we're not going to ask you to create speeches without some kind of guide. There's 9 of them in here. There's projects, how to use your vocal variety, how to organize a speech, how to research your topic, how to get to the point. All 10 of these speeches are in this manual. Once you complete this, you'll get an award that we call the Company Communicator. Okay, I have one last thing to show you, and that is an evaluation. We heard a wonderful speech from Madeline. Now I'd like to get an evaluator. Is somebody willing to volunteer to be an evaluator, and I'll guide you through the process? No volunteers? How about Curtis? Curtis, come on up. Yeah, Curtis. But I knew I could have fun with you. Okay, you witnessed an awesome speech that Madeline gave. Now, in the evaluation process, we like to use the sandwich method. So take just a couple of minutes. Tell us something that you liked, something that she can improve upon, and something else that you like. So that's how we get the sandwich, because it's all in there. You
Okay.
Get that? Yeah, take a couple minutes and tell us what you thought of Madeline's speech.
Madeline, I was very impressed that you came up here, first of all, volunteering. I thought maybe Todd set this up or something, but that takes a lot of guts, and that was really good. And, you know, what got me thinking was kind of what you were doing is just basically having a conversation. Like you're talking to somebody one-on-one, you don't really prepare for that. And that's kind of what you did up here with the audience, is just talking to us, telling us about your cats. Last minute about Virgin Atlantic, which I'm sorry to hear that. I like Virgin, but we won't get into that though. The airline. Yes, thank you for the clarification. The airline. And you did a good job kind of telling us about yourself for an icebreaker and drawing out Emmy here from the audience and kind of giving her a compliment about her icebreaker, her second icebreaker speech and how that inspired you. And, I think it would have been improved if you had at least prepared for this in some manner. I'm just kidding around. I think it was good. One thing that I would have taken out would probably been the virgin comment. That was just kind of a last minute story that was tacked on, I think. But maybe just for time.
We are running out of time, so thank you very much.
I have the bottom sandwich. Other than that, you did a really good job. All right. Thank you. Good job.
We're structural businesses. I'm running out of time, so thank you. So there you have it. I showed you a speech, and I showed you the evaluation of that speech. Did everybody see value in that? Did you see how it might apply to your learning experience and your personal growth? Those are some of the key elements. I didn't hear any ahs, so our ah counter wasn't very busy. Those are some of the key elements that you'll experience in a Toastmasters meeting. I've given you a couple of handouts to keep this fresh in your mind. One of those handouts has some of the features and benefits and the values of the Toastmasters program. On the back of that, it's kind of something that you can expect when you're a new member in the Toastmasters organization. The other sheet I gave you, and part of what I'm here today to do is to entice you to now explore Toastmasters a little bit further. I've given you 11 clubs in this local area that you can go and check out. Anybody can visit a Toastmasters club at any time. I encourage you to check one out. And trust me when I say this, all the clubs are different. So if you go to one and you don't really resonate with it, go to another one. Club cultures it varies so much that I'm sure you will find one that fits you. Normally I would have some questions and answers, but I am totally out of time. Please, investigate how Toastmasters can improve the way you show up in the world. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Todd. Take a minute to write. Does everybody have enough sheets of paper? Anybody short?